Dokely, we are talking about men's emotional eating, and this is a subject that popped up on a group call the other night. So, from the chat that we had and talking to the other fellas that have basically gone through this, we've come up with what are the triggers and then what possibly are the solutions. So, let's get into it. Let me see, will this work without me clicking? Boom. Okay. So what does emotional eating look like to you? So this can be, related to boredom. You're just fucking sitting there, nothing to do, driving in the car, long distances, fucking in your own thoughts, and you pull into a filling station, you buy fucking some shit food. You're only going there to get petrol, but you still fucking buy whatever they're selling at the counter, the share bars and whatnot like that. And maybe a couple of bags of crisps or whatever, and you have the car seat beside you, the passenger seat, full of food. Or maybe you're working from home, and because you don't have structure, you're constantly getting up, grazing, picking on this, picking on that. Boredom is a big one. Late night snacking, getting up thinking that the feeling of hunger is a bad thing. If I don't eat, jeez, I won't be able to sleep. And in actual fact, eating late is what fucks your sleep. Reward system. I've had a hard week, going for pints. That's emotional eating. That it's like, oh, I'm feeling down. I want to reward myself. That is a form of emotionally eating. Food is a way to numb feelings. I know that some of us necessarily may not have a problem with the food directly, but for me, what it was my weekend sessions, which would go for 2 or 3 days. And when I would calculate out the calories, I know I wouldn't be eating the food, but I could be consuming in the vicinity of 3,000-4,000 calories just in beer, shots, Jaeger bombs, fucking whatnot. So that's kind of the idea of what emotional eating can look like. Now, what are the triggers? What are the triggers that make you want to eat? As we said, boredom, sadness, stress, frustration, overwhelm, lack of clarity, that's a big one. That was a big one for me. And lack of routine. The lack of clarity can be in your relationship. You don't really understand your partner as well as you think you do. Or in work, it's like there's something supposed to be done and you're not clear on what it is that actually needs to be done. Can I make my face a little bit bigger here for a second? Yes, I can. Look at me now. I'm part of the triggers. So yeah, it for me, it was always, making an assumption on something and then letting it run around inside my head and then thinking of the worst case scenario. So a massive lack of clarity was always the problem that I had when it came to emotional avoidance, food, alcohol, whatever the fuck you want to call it. So how do we change these emotions? Well, understand this, that your thoughts become your words are your actions are your future. So emotions come from the way you think. So we need to start manipulating the thoughts. If we allow a thought to sit in there and just roll around doing whatever it is it fucking wants to do, and sometimes it can lead you out of a problem, but sometimes it can actually create a problem. So we need to control how we're thinking. And because we're men, there's specific solutions dedicated to us that will actually work. What works for women does not work for us. And these are some of the solutions that we came up with by chatting with one another the other night in the call. The first thing is routines. In order for you to feel like you have purpose, routines are essential. We like order. Men think vertically. Women think horizontally. What do I mean by that? Men are like, I want an objective, A, B, C, D, and that's how I want to achieve the thing that I need to achieve. And women think horizontally. They think across here, across the border. They're thinking of multiple tasks at once. And that works for them. That does not work for us. So some very, very simple routines that you can apply in your life, because we have only control over a certain amount of things. Our mind is the only thing we actually have control over, but it seems like the thing we have the least control over. So how can we create order in our lives? Well, number one, have a wake sleep cycle. Have a, like, when the alarm goes off, get up. Make your bed every single morning. Eat breakfast in the morning. Have meal preparations. Eat your meals at the same time every single day. And that's what I teach inside the Alpha Clan. That's why these things are so important. Train on a regular basis. Lift heavy weights. Do hard things. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever the fuck it is. Train. Go for a long run, but make it regular. Drink plenty of water. Fill up your water container. Have that, and it needs to be a solid one, aluminium if at all possible. And fill that up twice a day and drink plenty of water. Get out. Open up your perspective. Walk in nature. Walk outside. Walk without the phone. Walk without headphones on. But have routines that you follow that benefit you. Super important. That's number one. Okay, know psychology and understand that this is very important. I see this a lot of time when you fellas sign up to this program and you get into it. I'm here to coach you, but I know sometimes you think, oh, well, okay, I'm going to speed these results up and I'm going to get the best results possible and I'm going to do it in the fastest time possible. And that just doesn't work, because this is what I hear. Right when I'm working with you the next 12 weeks or next fucking 6 months, no drink, no sweets, no bread. I'm going to be fully committed, like no fucking bullshit. That is the worst thing in the world. Because there's a young fella inside you, 12 years of age. And when you say to him, I'm not going to drink, he's like, fuck you, watch me. The no psychology to a man doesn't work. Can you imagine being told, no, you cannot do something, right? No, you can't drive to the shops today. No, you're not allowed to go into the gym. What way do you automatically react to that? You're like, the fuck? Who the fuck are you telling me I can't? So when you're trying to say, like, restrict yourself and say, no, I'm not going to eat chocolate, or I'm not going to have any ice cream, or I'm not going to have any takeaway during this program, your brain straight away kicks back. You might do it for 3 to 4 weeks, but then all of a sudden the fucking beast will come out. That 12-year-old will go, ha, now it's my turn. And especially with alcohol. Oh, no, I'm not going to drink. I'm going to off the drink now. Drink in moderation. Allow yourself out. We plan for all of this. Do not tell yourself you cannot have something. Okay? Because you're listening to this now because you know you emotionally need. So telling yourself not to eat the food doesn't work. Okay? So that's why when we go back to our routines, having order, having structure, when I plan out your meal timing, we're going to allow for your favorite food. So don't lie about those things. If there's something that you like, I know there's a guy that likes curly whirlies. I know there's a guy that likes to have a dairy milk. I know there's a guy that likes to eat a couple of chocolate digestives. So we need to incorporate that in. My missus likes to have donuts. She's trying to lose weight, and for the longest time she was like, I'm ruining them out, and then she'd cave and feel bad for caving. Now I have her incorporating a donut every single day, and she's like, how am I going to lose weight? By incorporating it in. It's all of your calories. It's what you're supposed to be doing. Fuck me, what started happening? She's losing weight and she's eating a donut a day. Okay? So it's about making yourself feel good. Get to where you need to be, and then we can make all the changes, but don't do it through massive restriction. Emotional eating is caused by the thoughts, as I said. Talking is a great solution for those thoughts that circulate throughout the head, because as men we internalize these thoughts. Fucking look at my faces in the way of that video, and what you should be seeing is talk. Yeah. So this is the group call that we have running in the Alpha Clan. So when you have these thoughts circulating around your head, As I said, sometimes we need thoughts to circulate around our head to take us on a positive path, but more often than not, they can take us on a negative path, and we can come up to some really negative conclusions, and they just sit in there. And the devastating reality of the extreme version is that of that is men do away with themselves. That is what happens when you ruminate on negative thoughts too fucking long. And by talking, by getting those thoughts out, which is what we do on the Alpha Clan calls every single week, you're actually allowing other people to hear your thoughts. You're getting it off your chest. And then the funny thing is, in these communicative meetings that we have, all of a sudden, other lads are putting up their hands going, yeah, I have the same problem. So when we brought up this about, do you turn to food when, like in times of stress, fucking all the boys straight away had their hands up. Yeah, I do that. Yeah, I do that. I'm when I'm bored in the van, I'm always eating. When I get up at night, I feel hungry. I go to the fridge. When I've had a stressful day, like I comfort myself with food. I have a fight with the missus. I'm going getting a takeaway while I'm got out of the house, or I spend all week drinking when I'm after a big long week's work. So talk is so important. Whether that's with a good mate, with your partner, with a parent, doesn't matter. But you need to talk. Men's forums are a great place to do that because we've all got the same problems, except we internalize it. We think we're an island, and we think that, well, I need to get myself out of this. But the way male psychology works is you don't want to be told what to do. You want to fix it yourself. But if you share your problems with other guys, so surely you're going to hear someone else that had the same problem, and you'll hear how he fixed it. And then you can apply that and see how it'll work for you. That's how men succeed. That's how men get out of the ruts that they're in. So never forget that. The next thing is you have to sit in your shit for a bit. That is kind of a golden rule. And I'll tell you where that comes from. So I had a mate of mine that was in the gym, was a client of mine in the gym, and a good mate, and he was an occupational therapist, and I was after going through like a horrific breakup. It was fucking just hectic, and I was not doing good, and like leaning heavily on the alcohol, a lot more than I should have, rocking up to the gym where I worked, CrossFit Westgate, hungover on Mondays, starting drinking on Fridays, like not fucking good at all. But what was I doing with the drinking? I was trying to soothe how I was feeling. I was trying to make myself feel better. And what he said to me is like, mate, your emotions are like a muscle. He said, like, you need to sit with them. And the more you sit with them, the more you feel that shit, the stronger you become at dealing with them. And like turning to food or turning to alcohol is not dealing with them. So you're prolonging the agony. And I was like, fuck. That was hard to hear at the time because I was just on self-destruct. I just didn't care. But he was right. The more I sat with it and he thought about things and wrote things out and fucking had a good old cry and spoke to mates about how I was feeling. And they were like, yeah, man, I've been through it too. It gets better in time. And it's, when I look back, it did. And that time when I actually faced that shit, it's made me stronger. It's made me a better man. It's made me better in now my new relationship. So sometimes we need to sit in our shit. Train your emotions like a muscle. Learn to deal with them. And this next one is very important. Stress comes from trying to be someone that you're not. You're like emotionally eating because you're stressed, frustrated, tired, overwhelmed, whatnot. A lot of the time you're wearing a fucking mask because you're truly not showing up as yourself. You feel that you have to be someone for everyone else to see. The weight of the world of finances is on your shoulders for your partner and your family and the people around you. And, you can't be seen to be weak. You can't be seen to be vulnerable. You can't be seen to be struggling. You're afraid that if people look at you, they're going to see someone weak, scared, an imposter, someone that hasn't a fucking clue what he's doing, a fraud, someone that doesn't have a clue. You're afraid of being judged. It's important that you remove this mask and start being really yourself. If you're hanging around with people that you feel you can't be yourself, you need to get rid of those people. Start to speak your truth, because when you start to speak it and start actually expressing who you are, your world actually gets better. It may seem like the hard thing to do at the time, but trust me, out the other side of it is absolute freedom. Absolute. In the relationship I'm currently in with my partner, that's the way I am with her. I said, I'm going to be brutally honest, because I've been a liar in my past life, and I've been a liar to girls I've been in relationships before. So I'm going to say exactly how I'm feeling. And sometimes you're not going to like what I'm going to say, but I have to say it anyway. And you know what? She hangs around. She has the patience to listen, and she's good. If someone isn't willing to listen to you, they're not your person. They're not your person. But you also have to be willing to listen to them. I have techniques and strategies within the Alpha Clan that we can use to help you unmask yourself, because that's a whole other journey to go down, or a whole other webinar. That's a few hours of a webinar, actually. But understand that a lot of your stress can be caused by the simple fact that you're not being your true self. You're afraid that someone's going to see someone weak, scared, imposter, a fraud, someone that hasn't a clue, and you're afraid of being judged. Let go of that shit. Let go. So thank you for listening to this. If you have any questions, if I've touched on anything that you're like, ooh, that's me, and you need some help with this, you need guidance, please reach out. I'm here to help. Giddy up.